In Tower Defense Simulator, spawner towers are a unique type of tower that spawn in units to attack the zombies. So today I decided to rank all 8 spawner towers from worst to best. Starting the list at number 8, aka the worst spawner tower, is the normal crook boss. Now the normal crook boss is obviously not going to be super overpowered as you obtain it from just being level 30. But honestly, the tower is actually somewhat decent in the easier game modes such as normal mode or molten mode, as it only costs $600 to place down and can one-shot normal and speedy zombies, making it an actually great early game tower for those modes. Additionally, the tower has a really good cost efficiency for its DPS, with the most cost efficient level being level 3, costing $135 per DPS. In my opinion, the only thing really holding back the crook boss is the placement limit and the lack of DPS, as 6 fully maxed crook bosses can deal around 500 DPS depending on how many units are on the map. But it's about what you expect for a starter tower, so I'd rank it C- here overall. Also, I think there are way better options for early games, such as the Gladiator if you have it, and then the Shotgunner, which you should be able to get before level 30 since it only costs 2,000 coins. At 7th place is a Trapper Tower. Now the Trapper Tower did recently receive a buff, but the tower is still very weak. The main purpose of the Trapper Tower is for it to be placed in the back of the map to deal with zombies that manage to bypass your defenses, which feels pretty useless as you should be focusing on getting better defenses instead of expecting the enemies to leak. Additionally, the Trapper is currently bugged, so a 1 HP breaker can completely destroy all the traps, making the tower quite useless. However, if you still want to use this tower, I suggest using the mix of landmines and bear traps, as the landmines can deal with hordes of enemies, while the bear trap can be used to stun and slow down enemies. Overall, I rank this tower C- tier, although I suggest not really using the tower at all, since it makes the match way longer due to the tower being placed at the back of the map. Also, the tower has a placement limit of 7, which isn't really great, and it can only have 10 traps at most, which is also pretty bad. This makes the tower extra useless. Also, the Trapper's main purpose is for early to mid game based on the cheap prices it has, but the tower still falls flat as its cost efficiency isn't good at all and it falls off at late game, so there's really no point to use it at all. Now at 6th place is the Necromancer Tower. After the Necromancer's buff, the tower is actually quite good, especially with its units. Although the tower is quite expensive, costing around 43k to max, it can deal 64 DPS at max to 7 different enemies at once, which is 448 DPS from one Necromancer alone. And that's not even accounting for the Executioner Skeleton, which deals 124 single target DPS, but it can hit an infinite amount of zombies, so it can do thousands of DPS just by one swing. Also, a unique thing about this tower is that it has a particularly strong synergy with the Mercenary Tower, as the field medic from the Mercenary Tower can give the Necromancer's units a shield that basically doubles their HP, allowing 2 times more impact damage. This is actually very powerful when used with the Necromancer, who can summon the Executioner Skeleton, which has over 3,500 HP, and doubling that HP to 7,000. If the field medic applies a shield to the 3 Executioner Skeletons, that can apply an insane 21,000 ram damage. Additionally, the Mercenary will buff the Necromancer's tower damage by 20%, increasing its DPS from 448 to 537, which is a massive difference. This makes the Mercenary an overpowered support role for the Necromancer. So overall, I'd rank the Necromancer C+ tier, as the placement limit holds it back, and the Necromancer single targeting could be better. After the Necromancer is the Elf Camp at 5th place. The Elf Camp is one of the most cost-efficient towers in the entire game, only costing $15,000 to max and spamming powerful units. And with the addition of the Mercenary Tower, the Field Mech can also provide shields to the Elf Camp units, making it even more of a powerful tower. But putting that aside, 2 Elf Camps by itself can defend all the way up to wave 38 on Molten Mode, depending on the map, which is honestly insane for only 30,000 cash total. This is why I rank it a B+ tier overall, as the cost efficiency of the Elf Camp is insane. But the tower can't really be used in solos or duos, as a placement limit of 2 makes it not really worth using in those modes. Also, the tower slows down matches, as the tower relies on doing a lot of damage over time over having high DPS as you build up the Elf Camp army. At 4th place is the Golden Crook Boss Tower. Similar to how the Elf Camp works, the Golden Crook Boss Tower has really good cost efficiency, as at max level, the Golden Crook Boss Tower itself can deal over 100 DPS, plus the Golden Crook Boss units that deal 31 DPS each. The units can deal a lot more DPS if you stack up a massive army of Golden Crook Boss units that significantly increase the overall DPS of the Golden Crook Boss Tower. The tower is also quite cheap, only costing $24,000 to max, costing a grand total of 144k to get 6 Golden Crook Boss towers maxed, which is actually quite cheap. Although it has the same issue as many other spawner towers, as it's held back by its placement limit of 6, it also lacks enough DPS to be strong in the later waves because bosses can wipe out the entire Golden Crook Boss tower's units by stomping, heavily decreasing the Golden Crook Boss's tower's DPS overall. So the Golden Crook Boss tower is only really good at early to mid game, but struggles at later waves. So overall, I'd rank this tower at 8, as it's still very strong and solid. At 3rd place is the military-based tower. The military-based rework has made the tower significantly better, as despite being quite expensive, costing $34,000 to max, the tower is actually quite strong, as not only do you get a tank of 1500 HP that deals 180 DPS, you get an airstrike ability that deals 750 splash damage every 45 seconds. This tower is actually somewhat decent at early, mid, and even late game, as it's very cost efficient at earlier levels, and the airstrike ability can save you on the later waves. Also, the military base tower has a useful strategy. You can constantly buy and resell the military base to get rid of the ability cooldown on the military base, and constantly spam the airstrike ability. This can make a big difference, as if you're on wave 40, you already have all your towers placed down, and you can just use all the leftover money to spam the airstrike ability. For that reason, I place it above the Golden Crook Boss, but it's still A tier overall. Now, in 2nd place is the Engineer Tower. The Engineer Tower is a jack-of-all-trades tower, being good in early game, mid game, and even late game. However, if you use this tower, I suggest using it as a secondary DPS tower to Accelerator or Pursuit. The tower actually has the highest DPS in the entire game, and is more stun-proof than the Accelerator, as the Engineer has sentry shields that protect the units from being destroyed by boss stomps. However, the main two things holding back the Engineer from being overpowered is a placement limit of 6, as well as the sentries not being able to be buffed by the Commander and DJ. This results in the Accelerator being the significantly better choice and landing the Engineer in A+ tier overall. And to nobody's surprise, the best spawner tower in the entire game is the Mercenary Tower. The 20% damage buff that the Mercenary Tower gives already makes this tower ridiculously OP, as it can make towers like the Accelerator significantly more powerful. Not only that, the units are extremely strong. The best unit, the Riot Shielder, has 2,250 HP, which can be doubled by the Field Medic. If you place down all the Mercenary Towers and had them all summon in Riot Guards with one Medic, you could immediately have 36,000 RAM damage. In addition, the airdrop ability allows you to immediately receive all those units again, so on the final waves of any game mode, you can constantly buy and resell the tower, and use the airdrop ability of Riot Shielders to repeatedly have 36,000 RAM damage, which is honestly really insane. This tower also excels at mid to late game, as the Grenadier unit is also very strong, which further adds to the strength of the Mercenary Tower. Overall, this tower is an S tier, not only being able to buff other towers' overall damage, and having extremely OP units, this tower is just plain broken. Anyways, that's my entire ranking video. If you found my rankings to be informative, consider liking and subscribing for more informational TDS videos. Anyway, see you next time.